Hello, boys and girls. Greg from the Scary Spirits podcast here to make you another cocktail. This week's cocktail is the Back to School-tini. I'm going to take our shaker with ice. To that, we're going to add 2 ounces of vodka. Coconut rum, 1/2 an ounce. Apple juice, again, 1/2 an ounce. Finally, a splash of grenadine. Next, we shake. Take our chilled martini glass and we strain. Garnish with an apple slice, if you desire. It's not bad. Maybe a little too much vodka. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy the podcast. See ya.
School is kind of my gig, and the month of September has me feeling all the back-to-school feels. So Village of the Damned, episode number 73 of the Scary Spirits podcast, is a great fit. I've spent a lot of my time in school, and I must say I was very impressed with the concept of the hive mind. Think of all the 8 o'clock classes I could have skipped. Not familiar with the concept? Listen this week to mourn all the classes you could have missed without guilt. Hypothetically, of course. I'm sure you loved all your school classes. Cheers!
Welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast. Please be advised that the presenters may use adult language and/or discuss adult situations. This podcast is not intended for younger listeners or those that may be easily offended. So, if you're ready, let's go.
Hi, I'm Greg,
Hey, I'm Karen.
and welcome to the Scary Spirits podcast, the podcast that combines the two very different yet highly compatible worlds of scary films and alcoholic spirits.
What could possibly go wrong?
Indeed. How are you, Karen?
I'm doing great. How are you, Greg?
I'm good as always. Same as it ever was. Same as it ever was.
Great. Thanks for that, earworm.
Anything we need to cover from last week? From Chud?
I don't think so.
Did your girlfriends contact you and say, oh my God, you did Chud?
Not yet. Martha and Eddie have not let me know that they heard it.
Okay.
They're probably binging it and haven't caught up yet.
You got quite a few YouTube views.
Of Chud?
Yeah, actually, the Curse of the Werewolf did better. Curse of the Werewolf even got 7 likes, like over 100 views and 7 likes.
Ooh. Well,
Yeah,
werewolves are cool.
they are cool.
Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers probably aren't as cool.
Not as. If only they had a nice acronym or something.
I know. It is a mouthful.
All right, Karen, anything else? Or are you ready to get into it?
Let's go.
I believe this film was your choice, wasn't it?
It was.
What film have you chosen for us this week, Karen?
I chose the 1960 film Village of the Damned.
Any reason you chose that film, Karen?
I'm going with a back to school theme this month of September. Thank God there was a school in this film. I was getting a little worried.
Might you have a brief synopsis?
I do.
Go on, Karen. Tell me a story.
One day, the peaceful village of Midwich is cast into a mysterious sleep for several hours, but with no obvious consequences, until soon all the women of childbearing age turn out to be pregnant. Their children are all born at the same time and grow quickly into very spooky young people with strange white blonde hair and eerie eyes.
Thank you, Karen, for that brief synopsis. We are a match. Do we have a cocktail, Karen, for this?
Of course we do. Of course we do.
What would that be, Karen?
It's the back to school-tini.
The back to school-tini. How would we make that, Karen?
You're going to need 2 ounces of vodka and half an ounce of coconut rum, half ounce of apple juice, and a splash of grenadine, and an apple slice if you want to garnish. You want to know how to put all those things together?
Absolutely.
Fill a cocktail shaker halfway with ice. Pour in the vodka, coconut rum, and apple juice. Add a splash of grenadine. Shake well and strain into a martini glass. And garnish with the apple slice. Neither one of us garnished with the apple slice.
No, we didn't.
But you all go on and do you. Make it fancy.
Hold on. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
All right, Karen, are you ready to get into it?
I believe I am. Greg, are you ready?
Yes, I am, Karen. Thank you for asking. Did you watch this film on Amazon Prime, Karen?
I did. Did you?
I did as well. So the first thing I saw was rated NR. No warnings about anything, smoking, or anything like that.
Nope, we're on our own with this one.
Then we cut right to a scene. There's a scene prior to the credits, Karen. And very happy music plays as a man is herding his sheep.
With his border collie.
And we see a man who we learn is Gordon. He's calling a major, who's his brother, I guess. What's his name? Alan or something?
It's his brother-in-law.
Brother-in-law?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And apparently they're planning to meet that day, and then all of a sudden Gordon drops the phone and falls unconscious.
Okay, so Gordon's trying to call his brother-in-law, and his brother-in-law is obviously in the military. Some sort of military guy.
He doesn't have to dial his brother. He just picks up the phone and says, "Get me Major Allen," and then hangs up. Then the phone rings when it's connected. And
yes. So the operator must have connected them.
For a minute there, I thought it was one of those indoor household phones.
Me too, but it's not. So yes, it rings. He picks it up, and they do speak for a moment.
Then he drops the phone and falls unconscious, and Bruno the dog seems to be out as well, Karen, lying by the fire.
So Alan tells his secretary to try to get Gordon back on the line. He thinks something happened with the phone lines or something.
Yes. So she tries to contact Midwich 25, Karen.
And you can hear her on the phone saying, "Hello, hello.
Hello, please hang up the receiver. Hello, please hang up the receiver." And we see a tractor going around in circles with the man slumped over it, and it eventually hits a tree. See everyone in the town unconscious. We cut from scenes to scene in the town.
Yeah, and everyone's lying around, and you don't know if they're dead or passed out or what. I thought it was a well done, creepy scene.
Yeah.
Everybody just stops whatever they're doing. There's water running. There's an iron burning through a dress. Record player starts to slow down because it's not been wound. And
it's stuck too.
So I thought it was a well done beginning.
Yep, I did too. Then we see the church clock striking 11.
11 a.m.
Then we have credits, Karen. At the very end of the credits, I made a note that it says it's based on the novel The Midwich Cuckoos.
Yes.
Next, cut back to the clock, and it's now 12:15. I guess we're at the Major Allen's office. Major's worried. No one in the town can be reached.
Yes, for over an hour now.
He decides to drive out there.
Well, they go over to the
earlier.
map. Yeah, because the 4th Brigade is running an exercise near the town, and he wants to leave a little early and drop by the town before he goes out to see the 4th Brigade. He's granted early leave.
On his way out there, he stops and talks to a cop on a bicycle.
I did say this must be Britain. He's on the wrong side.
British village of Midwich.
Is it real?
Probably. I mean, there's a book about it and everything.
That doesn't mean it's real.
No, Midwich is not a real place, Karen. It is entirely fictional.
Okay.
Created by John Wyndham for his sci-fi novel.
Awesome.
I like the name, though. It sounds like it could be real.
It's a nice country town.
But anyway, the cop says he was on his way out there because the bus hasn't come. He's trying to find the damn bus. And they look ahead and said, oh, well, there's your bus. And it's off the side of the road there, Karen. Like there was an accident. We see all the people in there slumped over.
It's a cute little bus, too.
The policeman goes out there to investigate, and he collapses.
Yeah, so the policeman's on his bicycle. He's talking to Alan. Alan gets back in his car, or is about to get back in his car, and the policeman, is he riding his bike?
He gets off his bike.
Over? Oh, he's walking over there. And at a certain point, he just falls over.
No, maybe he does fall off the bike, not to mention it.
And Alan turns around as soon as the policeman goes down. Smartly, he's like, I'm not going any further.
Beating feet and getting out of here.
Yes. He doesn't even bother to check on the policeman. He just
but we even see animals in the fields, cattle.
Yeah, there's
and
a
whatnot,
cow.
are all laying down too. So the major gets to where there's a phone, Karen, and he calls his superior. I don't know what he is, colonel. I don't know.
He's a general, I think. They say later.
And they send the military out to the town, Karen.
You kind of get the feeling that they're not sure if, remember they said there were military exercises in the area, and there's kind of a little bit of
hush, hush. Just keep it hush, hush.
Oh, shit. Did we do something wrong and cause all this? Let's keep it out of the papers.
So next we see the military, and they're setting up a perimeter with white caution tape, Karen.
Yes. Don't cross this line.
And then they take a bird, a canary, I guess, in a bird cage attached to a long stick.
Yep.
And they shove the stick out there and into the forbidden zone, and the canary drops.
Because they push it right out near the policeman where he's still laying down unconscious. And it does fall over. But then they pull it back and it wakes up.
It begins fluttering around again.
Yes. Of course, the next step is to send a poor slob in there.
That's right. Let's get put a gas mask on. Let's see if this is some kind of gas. They send a guy out there wearing a gas mask, and they tie a rope to him so that they can retrieve him if needed.
I thought that was pretty ingenious.
So as the man gets close to the police officer, he collapses as well, and they pull him back. Just then a doctor pulls up, Karen.
Isn't that convenient?
Convenient.
Yep.
Apparently
Who knows Alan? Yeah.
Oh,
so
everybody knows. Yeah, everybody. It's Midwich, Karen. Everybody knows everybody. He
it's
probably
true.
grew up there because that's where his sister still lives, right?
Yes.
But anyway, I guess the doctor has said that some of the patients in Midwich didn't make their appointment or something, or he was on his way to see them or something, right? Like that.
Yeah. But he says he's trying to get to his patients, but the perimeter is blocked off. They're not letting anybody in
So they asked the doctor to take a look at the soldier.
who they just pulled back.
Yep, take his gas mask off, and doctor says it looked like he fainted. His pulse is fine, and he seems to be breathing normally. Then the man revives, and he complains of being cold, Karen. Ooh, cold. Very cold.
And they're trying to figure out what it is. Like somebody says it could be a gas, but they figure it can't be because the wind would have blown it past the perimeter. So there's a very defined perimeter of where if you pass the line, basically the line in the sand, you're done. You fall over.
And we see an airplane reconnaissance in the air, Karen, as they usually are.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to see how high the perimeter is.
Yeah, he's looking over the town and he's radioing into the major telling him, yep, I see people down there. They're just all laying down. And the major tells the pilot to take the plane down, but pull up as soon as he feels anything.
Yeah, that wasn't very descriptive.
No, it wasn't.
But so at a certain height, he's fine. But as he descends, he runs into trouble.
Yes, he does.
Not to spoil it.
He slumps over. Plane goes down and crashes behind some trees. And I thought that was very nicely done as well. You could tell at the very last minute as the plane was going behind the trees, he was pulling. He was about to. He was like pulling. It looked like to me that he was trying to he was going to level off and keep going. But it was a nice shot. I thought it was better than something they do in Plan 9 with a model on some.
No, it looked good.
Fishing line and
yes,
in a cardboard box with a sky painted.
A school book report.
Oh Lord, yeah. Next, another plane comes into the area, and the major tells the radio guy, call that plane and tell it to, stay above 5,000 feet or whatever it was, and he orders the airspace above the town of Midwich off limits.
Yes.
No flying above Midwich.
And then right then, the cow in the field is beginning to wake up. So that poor pilot, if it had been 1 minute later,
right.
He'd have been okay.
That's right. It is pretty important plot, though, thing. But
but
so
it's like, oh, so close.
Yep. Just then a cow gets up, and then we see all the people in the town begin to walk off the bus, Karen. Everybody
and then we
seems to be fine.
Alan approach the perimeter and you watch his shoes walk across it.
Yeah, across the line.
Yeah, the policeman's getting up and everyone in the village is waking up.
Next we meet Anthea, who's Gordon's wife, right?
Did you see before that when the telephone operator wakes up and helps the old lady in the store, the Kellogg's products everywhere?
No.
Oh, corn flakes and all kinds of Kellogg stuff behind her. I don't know if it was product placement or not.
So Anthea and Gordon realize they've lost 4 hours. In fact, they each apologize, or Anthea apologizes. I'm sorry. Sorry, dear. I must have fallen asleep. And I'm like, oh my God, look at the clock.
And Gordon says he was just asleep on the floor.
Yep.
And they are cold also.
Yep. Fire's out. Dog's up. Then the Major Allen arrives to see his brother-in-law, Gordon, I guess.
And his sister, I'm sure.
I suppose. And he explains.
Everybody needs a sister, Greg, as you well know.
That's true. That is so true. All you moms out there of single children boys, give your son a sister. It'll be good for you in the long run. But anyway, Major explains that the whole village was knocked out for several hours. And next we see the military rolling into town, Karen, and they have their Geiger counters out.
They
and their
do.
metal detectors, and wasn't quite a montage, but it was
But
pretty
they're
close.
examining the ground and the people.
And the people, yeah.
They're looking for anything unusual.
But they don't find anything.
No, they don't.
Back at the military office, this time Gordon is there as well. And they're trying to figure out what happened. Apparently Gordon's some scientist or some shit.
Yeah, I couldn't figure it out, but he is a scientist. Gordon says that it's whatever it was, it's odorless, static,
They call him professor. So
invisible, and doesn't register as radioactivity because there's nothing on the Geiger counters. And they also say it's non-metallic because they had metal detectors and didn't find anything. But he smartly says just because there's no effects now doesn't mean that
there
you won't see
be later.
Yeah. Everyone should be observed.
So Gordon agrees to, since he lives in the town, he's going to keep an eye on everything in the town, Karen. Next, we cut to Gordon playing the piano. He's a pretty good piano player.
He is.
And he's looking out his window and he notices a plant. He goes out to look at it. Next, we cut to Anthea in the store, Karen, where
Gordon's
you saw
wife. Yes.
all the Kellogg's products, but she's buying pickles, Karen.
Yes.
Lots and lots of pickles.
And when she leaves, the shop lady talks to she asks Anthea how the professor is doing. And Anthea says, very well. Very well indeed.
Ooh la la.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
and then the shopkeeper immediately goes to the phone operator, who are in the same building.
Yeah. And
starts the rumor.
There's already a scene of her earlier when the military's there looking around. You can tell she's the know-it-all. She knows everything about everybody in the town.
She's Mrs. Kravitz of Midwich.
The operator.
Yes.
She's probably listening on phone calls and everything.
Yep. So they imply that the wife is pregnant.
And next we see that apparently Anthea is pregnant.
She comes home and she kisses Gordon very passionately.
Yes.
And he says, why did you kiss me like that?
And he starts talking about the plant, then he stops and says, why did you kiss me like that?
And she's twirly. She's like twirling.
She's doing her Stevie Nicks impression.
Yes. He asks her why she is so happy, and she tells him to sit down and keep calm. And at this point, we should mention that he is quite a bit older than she is.
He's a little bit older.
I'd say it's a 10 to 15 year gap.
I would say he outkicked his coverage.
Absolutely.
That's what I would say.
100%. Yes.
But he's not a bad looking guy either, really.
No, he's not.
I imagine when he was younger, he was very handsome. And he still is handsome, but he's got the gray hair now. So now he's sophisticated, Karen.
Yes, he is. And he's smart and got a good job. He's good catch, I'm sure.
Yeah. He seems very romantic too.
He loves his wife.
But the way she tells him, she says that she compares it to like plant botany or some shit, doesn't she?
Yes.
Plant botany. That's a redundant thing, isn't it?
Yes. She explains it to him in plant talk. The crossing of two different plant species using their names.
Yeah.
And so that's how she does it.
What the outcome be is to be seen.
Yes.
So then he realizes, she's pregnant. Shit. So he gets up and has her sit down and starts waiting on her hand and foot.
Yes. Goes to get her pickles and anchovies.
But they're very happy.
And cheese. Yes. Well, like I said, he's an older gentleman. So this is a good development for them.
Well, is it?
Well, they seem happy.
They do. I'm just saying, just because he's an older gentleman doesn't mean it should be happy, though. But whatever.
But they are happy.
I know they are.
There weren't pharmaceutical helpers back in this time. So.
Okay. I'm just saying it shouldn't have anything to do with his age.
Well, I'm saying they didn't have pharmaceutical help. So the fact that it did happen is a good thing for them. It's not always a guarantee after a certain age.
All right. Whatever. So then we see another pregnancy, but this one ain't so happy, Karen.
No, it's not.
Apparently this girl's a virgin. She's like, it can't be so. And she's worried about how the town's going. Even the doctor tells her, the town may talk and blah, blah, blah. But then there's another one and another one and another one.
She doesn't say she doesn't say they don't use the word sex. They just keep saying it's impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible.
And then the other one's really sad, where there's a welcome home Timmy cake.
Yeah, apparently he's been gone for a year and comes home and all of a sudden his wife is pregnant.
Yeah, he's very upset by that.
He ain't happy at all.
No.
So next we see Dr. Gordon, the town doctor, talking to a priest. He calls him a vicar. What's the difference between a priest and a vicar, Dr. Karen?
I don't know.
The priest admits that several girls have come to him, some as young as 17, to tell him that they are pregnant.
Yeah, the vicar breaks confidence. He's not supposed to tell.
Well, he doesn't name names. Well, he does. As soon as he says 17, they all know who it is, but still.
You just said everyone knows everyone. It's Midwich. It's not like they're not going to be able to tell soon anyway.
No, but he didn't break any HIPAA violations. I can tell you that.
He broke confession confidence. You're not supposed to do that. And they don't have to, even in law. Like, they can't make a priest tell anything.
But apparently every woman of childbearing age is pregnant, just as you said in your synopsis, Karen. Then we do have a montage of pregnant women seeing the doctor, Karen. Bunch of pregnant women all at the same time.
And the doctor says it all dates back to the day when Midwich was cut off from the rest of the world.
As he's smoking a Marlboro, they examine the x-rays.
That x-ray kind of looked like it was the x-ray of a man.
Did it?
It had some man parts in it. But okay, yes.
Okay, whatever.
With a fetus, but
it's
with
Gordon,
a skeleton.
Gordon and the doctor and whatever. They're looking at the x-ray and apparently it's Anthea, right? The doctor says it appears to be a perfectly normal embryo, but it appears to be a 7-month embryo, Karen, only after 5 months, which is a twist.
Yeah, it's a big ass embryo.
I didn't see it. I couldn't tell what it was.
You could see the skeleton, but
yeah, I thought it was like I don't know, an alien or something.
No.
I guess it was a skeleton. I was thinking it looked like a snake, but I guess that was the spine, right?
That was the spine. It was hard to see.
All right, so Gordon next tries to convince Anthea that everything is going to be okay.
So she obviously...
She's freaking out a little bit now.
She's a little catatonic at this point because she knows that she got pregnant the same time everyone else got pregnant.
Right.
So
she doesn't know how it happened exactly and what it is inside her.
Right. She doesn't know what to believe. And he tells her, well, you're just tired. And she says, of course I'm tired. I lie awake every night worried, which you would. But now
he tries to tell her it's not a monster. It's a perfectly healthy embryo, but she still wonders where it came from.
Right.
She is afraid.
She wants to know what kind of life is growing inside her, what kind of brain it has. And she starts to get very agitated. And he tells her to stop it. They just have to wait. I think it would be very, very scary to just have something inside you. And they're just saying, oh, just wait. I mean, they have to wait the whole pregnancy.
I guess you could take some, everyone else, every other woman in this town is in the same predicament. So I guess there's a little bit of comfort in that, I would think. But I don't know.
Well, she's afraid.
I'm sure they all are.
Exactly.
So next we cut.
It's strange they don't have some sort of support group or something. They don't really talk much about what the women are going through.
No, they don't talk about any options they have either, do they, Karen?
No options.
They don't even mention the word pregnant.
No. But at this point, well, when we cut to it's 7 months later.
Yeah,
so
seems like there's been some time lapse.
Yeah, there wouldn't be an option at that point.
And all the men are very restless.
Terms. They're all at the pub. The pub is doing good business.
Yeah. And the one man says, I hope none of them lives. Next, Anthea gives birth. Dr. Gordon says it's very healthy, but large, a little large, over 10 pounds.
10 pounds, 8 ounces. How big were you when you were born?
I don't know.
I was 4 pounds. That's
Wow.
preemie. Back in the day, that was a scary thing, but now they got it a little under control. But he does say they have strange eyes.
Yes. And all the babies in the town are the same. They're all over 10 pounds with the same strange eyes.
Okay, so did you notice they put the baby in the crib and the dog is not happy?
Bruno goes into the baby's nursery. He ain't very happy, I wrote.
So what kind of dog is Bruno?
Looks like a shepherd.
It is a shepherd. It's a white shepherd. So I'm going to tell you about the white shepherd. Well, it's the same breed of dog as the standard German shepherd, with the only difference being that the white German shepherds have a double recessive white gene that causes their coat to be all white. Gotta love a double recessive. All other aspects of the dog are genetically identical to the German shepherd. So it's not recognized by the AKC, which is the dog breed group. And the only way to get all white puppies is to breed 2 white German shepherds. So if you have a colored German shepherd and a white
does
German
double
shepherd,
recessive mean that that's a very hard one to pass along? Is that what that means?
it's just it's less common.
Okay.
Dominant genes usually come forward. So if you breed a colored German shepherd with a white German shepherd, if the colored German shepherd has 2 dominant genes, all the puppies will be colored, but they'll have one colored gene, is oversimplifying it, but one colored gene and one white gene.
Gotcha.
But if you have a colored German shepherd that has one colored gene and one white gene, and you breed it to a white German shepherd that has 2 white, you'll get some white and some colored.
You might get one white one out of a litter or something, maybe.
Depends, yeah. I mean, if you're Gregor Mendel, you'd say a certain number because he fudged all his data, but yeah.
Okay.
They're just the same as normal German shepherds, just that the AKC deemed them not desirable, which is kind of silly, but they're pretty dogs.
Yeah, whatever.
So he knows what's going on, Bruno.
Yep.
Because he's growling at the kid, but they make him stop.
Next, we see Gordon and the doctor looking at a piece of David's hair, who is Gordon's son, through a microscope. And it is flat on one side, Karen.
And arced on the other. I don't really get that. But...
No, I don't either. He also says the children all have unusual fingernails, which we never saw.
No,
that's what he says.
And he didn't really say what was unusual about them.
There's thin and thinner than usual.
Oh, okay.
Felt like he was implying claws.
Oh.
That's the feeling I got. And then Doctor smokes a Marlboro.
Well, Gordon asks about the blood tests, and the doc says it's too early to tell because they'd still have their mother's antigens.
Okay. He does say the children are all 4 months old, but have the development of 18-month-old children.
Yes.
Next, we cut to Anthea, and she's fucking hysterical, Karen.
Well, they hear a scream upstairs, and they run up, and the nurse is fighting with Anthea.
And Gordon slaps her.
Well, she's sticking her hand in the boiling water. So there's boiling water in the baby's room to heat up the bottles.
Yes.
And she's sticking her hand in there. But yeah, Gordon slaps her because she's hysterical.
And she explains that the milk was too warm and that David spit it out at her.
It was too hot for him. So they keep cutting to the baby's eyes, like the baby is making her stick her hand in the boiling water.
Yeah.
And if you watch these things, as these things happen, at least to me, there seems to be an overreaction by the children of what's happened. She just made a mistake and gave him too warm of milk, and he's making her scald herself. So
yeah, but they not developed enough to know it was just an accident.
Yeah, but still later, it doesn't. They're pretty. You fuck up once, you're in trouble. You know.
Yeah. Next, we see David's 1 year old. And Gordon demonstrates too. Is it Alan, Major Alan? She's showing all this shit too.
Yes.
that he can open like some special Chinese, Oriental, Japanese, I don't know what it is, puzzle
It's
box.
the puzzle box with a piece of chocolate in it. First, he gives it to Alan to try to open it. And he said, that's why I married into your family, because you guys are brainy.
Because he watched Gordon open it, right?
No, Alan just does it on his own. But David watched Alan do it.
Okay.
So David knew how to do it.
Got it. So then Gordon gives the box to David, and he, like I said, he opens it, no problem.
Yeah, and he's only one.
And Alan says, well, he saw me do it. He saw
right.
He's like, all right. And so he takes the box to one of the other children, and she opens it as well with no problem. And Gordon explains that if you demonstrate something to one of them, they all know it.
Yes, he calls it the hive mentality.
And they give it to another one of the children, and the older brother takes it.
Yeah, so were these twins?
And I guess so, yeah.
Because the woman there has two of these babies.
Yeah.
One's a boy and one's a girl.
I think so.
Yeah, and so he takes it from the girl who's on the floor to give it to the boy who the mother is holding, but the older brother steals it because he wants the chocolate, because it's a poorer family. And then the baby's eyes light up.
And they all stare at the boy, and he hands back the box, and the child opens it.
So do you know how they made the children's eyes glow?
No, looks like it was just superimposed.
When the film was originally released in Britain, the children's eyes didn't glow. They thought the contrast between their white hair and their dark eyes would be enough. But the studio wanted something extra, especially when selling this picture to the public. And here, Tom Howard achieved the glowing eyes look by using the matte inserts on the film. So what does that mean exactly? Do you know, like they layer?
Yeah, just like a matte painting. You just put it over top of it, superimpose it, just like I said. So why you notice that their heads are all perfectly still. They'd probably take a freeze frame of the head and just put the eyes over top of it.
I actually read somewhere that their heads were clamped to keep them perfectly still. The kids' heads were clamped. I thought it was a really good effect, because they don't immediately glow. They kind of started and then went around in a circle, around the whole iris of the eye, and it glows this bright white. And then once they glow like that, they make you do things.
Next, we cut to the older children in town playing ball, and they begin teasing the younger ones who are all in their suits, walking to school or walking to the store. That's where they're going.
There's 5 of them walking to the store. Yes. Yeah. And they throw the ball at them or something and
hit one of them in the head.
But then one of the other kids, Nancy, one of them says, "No, Nancy, leave them alone."
Yeah.
And they walk
David.
away. David's the leader, I think.
Yeah. So then we see the children at the store, and we learn that they buy the same thing every week, but I didn't make a note of what they bought.
Jars and something else, but
just mason jars.
Yeah, it made no sense. As far as I know, they never used it for anything.
Right. But they buy the same thing every week.
Yeah.
And David says they're going to continue buying it, but someone else will come and get it.
Because this is where we find out they can read minds.
Yeah.
And they know the shopkeeper, they make the shopkeeper woman very uncomfortable. And she doesn't really want them to come into the shop anymore because they make her really nervous. So David says, fine, we're still going to buy the stuff, but we'll send someone else because obviously you're very nervous. So these kids are very polite. But this is where we find out they can read your mind.
Yes. We learn that Gordon and the Major are going to a conference in London. Apparently, Major Allen thinks the children are bad. Gordon insists that children are not born good or bad, that they are taught. And he believes he can teach them, more or less.
He believes he can teach them morality. But Alan disagrees, and Alan accuses Gordon kind of hubris. Like, you're just excited because you have this really, really smart kid, that you think can be the next Einstein because it's your kid. So he's placing this intellect much higher on the scale than having morality. And then he says, But Gordon's retort is, we don't even have proof that this kid is mine.
True.
So, and then his wife hears him say that at the top of the stairs, which I thought was a little brutal. And she's really pretty, I think.
She is. We see David getting ready for school, and Anthea tries to help him, but he refuses. He does not need her help. He is quite capable. He can handle it on his own.
Yeah, she tries to hug him, and he just doesn't return any affection.
And doing so, as he's tying his books up, he cuts his finger on the buckle that goes around his books, Karen.
Yes.
And he asks her not to fuss about it. It does not hurt. He seems very cold.
He is very cold, and he has an odd-shaped head and a terrible wig.
Did he really, Karen?
Yeah. His head, when he had his head when he was in profile, his head was very oblong, and had like a big bump on the back.
Okay.
But he rebuffs her affection, and she's very disappointed, as any mother would be. Is this your first time listening to the Scary Spirits podcast? Or maybe you're a regular listener, but missed a few along the way. No worries. Not only can you find every episode on our website, scaryspirits.com, but you'll also get to enjoy awesome show notes too. I just want to say we really appreciate your support. Now let's get back to the show.
Next, we're at the conference in London, and we learned that there have been several villages throughout the world which also had a large number of births on the same day to all blonde-haired children. Some died, some were killed, Karen.
Yeah, they said the group in Australia, all the children were born on the same day but died within 10 hours.
Yep.
And then in an Eskimo community, there were 10. But 10 golden-haired babies born to black-haired mothers violated the taboo, and he implies they killed them.
Yes.
He said none survived. And he says there was another in outer Mongolia, and the men just killed the children.
And the mothers.
And the mothers. Sorry, that's on my next line. And the mothers. But somewhere in the mountains, it looks like he's pointing to Russia.
Yep.
They did survive. And they all happened at the same time on the same day as the one in Midwich.
And they begin to theorize about what could have happened.
Yeah, it's a round table discussion.
With doctors and scientists and military.
Yes.
And they talk about the transfer of energy.
Well, the military guy accuses Gordon of being too emotionally attached, which he probably is. It's his kid. They go over what it could be. One guy says, well, it could be a mutation, a new variation that jumps the species forward. That happens, over time. There are mutations that cause species to jump forward. This is a huge jump for no apparent reason. But that doesn't explain why the people were out for several hours. And then the guy says it could have been a transmission of energy. He says we can transmit into space with utmost accuracy. And then he talks about electronic impulses coming from other planets and stars. And they think, well, if we can do this well, why can't other places in the universe do it better? So they're implying that it could possibly be alien.
And the military wants to lock the children away, Karen.
Because they're bringing up incidents in Midwich, incidents of violence.
They have too much power.
And Gordon keeps saying, like, a child drowned, and they say it was because of the children. But Gordon's like, well, accidents happen. And he's kind of defending them. And the military just wants to put them all in prison.
Gordon wants to study them further. Says they are all under one mind. So he wants to compromise. He suggests to have them all live under one roof where they can be watched and studied. He asks for 1 year. The government official agrees.
Yeah, Gordon thinks that they could leap science forward 100 years. And he does say, again, that they're like a colony of ants or bees. they're of one mind, all of them. Well, he's going to personally take responsibility. And I said, I have a feeling this is a bad plan. Gordon begs for 1 year, and there's a long pause, and they give it to him.
Next, we see Gordon give it a lecture, Karen.
Cut to a Goodwill Hunting looking chalkboard.
And the children read Gordon's mind.
Well, he's teaching all 12 kids. Why does he have to teach all 12 kids? Couldn't he just teach one kid?
It's true.
Why are they all there? They could take turns. They do say at one point.
They stick together, though.
Before this, that it's David's turn to learn when they were in school together. So they know that only one of them has to be there. But wouldn't that be awesome? It's your turn to learn, Greg. You go to class.
I don't want to go.
No, you have to. It's your turn. But you only have to go once every 12 days.
So the kids admit that they can see some of Gordon's thoughts, but not all.
But they're working on it.
Yeah. And he asks them about life on another planet. And he says, well, let me rephrase it. It is possible that life exists elsewhere, isn't it? And the kids all look down. Like, I don't think they want to answer.
They don't.
But he also asks them why they all seem to get nervous when an airplane flies over. And David explains that until recently, their power could not reach that high in the sky.
And David compliments Gordon on being observant, that he noticed that.
Yeah. And Gordon asks what they plan to do with their power. And David tells Gordon it's best he doesn't ask those kinds of questions, Karen.
But he does say, we want to learn from you, David says to Gordon.
Yeah. Yes, they all seem to like Gordon.
Well, he's teaching them. It seems like that's their purpose.
Next, we're back at the house.
To learn.
Yeah. David is packing to go live with the other children, and Gordon tells him he doesn't have to go.
Yeah, they've decided to put them all together in the school, in the schoolhouse.
But David says he wants to be with the others. Next, I guess Anthea and David are walking to the schoolhouse.
Yes.
And a group of other children come out, and one of the girls steps in front of a car. And I couldn't tell if she stopped it.
I was going to ask you the same thing.
The driver stopped in time to keep from hurting her.
It looked like she put her arms out and stops it.
That's what I thought too.
But he didn't mean to.
No. He jumps out immediately and asks her if she's okay, and didn't see her. Stepped right in front of me. Stupid little kid. No, he didn't say that.
No, but he's visibly upset because he almost hit a kid.
And the children stare at the driver.
But they don't care that he was apologetic. They do their glowy eyes.
They're kids. He gets in the car, slams into a wall. The car explodes. He
drives straight into the wall. He gets in the... So you can tell he's hypnotized almost.
He's hypnotized.
Gets into the car and drives it straight into a brick wall. And the mother witnessed the whole thing.
Yes, she did. And then David stares at Anthea.
And smiles.
A
little grin.
His first sign of emotion.
I think they, at one point, one of the kids, so everybody's staring at the guy to make him get in the car and go into the brick building. One of the kids stares at the mom, like to kind of make her confused.
Incapacitated.
Yeah, so she doesn't remember what exactly happened. The next thing we see is her in a courtroom, and she can't exactly recall what happened.
Nope, can't remember. She does give her testimony, tells them that the man got out of the car to check on the girl, got back in the car, and struck the wall.
And they decide he was in nervous shock because he almost hit a child and just ran right into the wall.
Yep. But the brother of the deceased is not happy, Karen.
That's Timmy. So he's already had
Same dude who was away for a year to come home and find his wife pregnant.
Yes. And then his brother just ran into a brick wall. So he's having a banner year, Timmy is. And
it gets better, though, Karen. He blames the children.
He does.
Or maybe it gets worse, Karen.
I think it gets worse. He storms out of the courtroom. And Alan then tells Gordon, can't you see now that Midwich isn't the place for the kids?
And we see the Major, Alan, Gordon, and Anthea walking from the courthouse. So they see Timmy coming out of the woods with a double-barrel shotgun, Karen.
He's waiting for the kids.
Yep, they're walking all in their little group. And Gordon stops Timmy from shooting the children.
Yeah, he says you can't stop them with a gun. I don't know how he knows that or if that's true, but Timmy wants the kids destroyed.
Yep. Children stop and stare.
Gordon's trying to warn him, get away. He's trying to move him along before the kids see him because he knows what could happen if the kids see him, but too late.
Yep. Children stop and stare at Timmy. One of the children stops to stare at Major Gordon and Anthea, too.
Alan. Yeah,
Timmy takes the shotgun and puts it under his chin, Karen.
The glowy eyes have got a hold of him.
He blows his head off. He gone.
We don't see it, but it's definitely implied. And I thought that was pretty brutal.
The one child turns back away from Alan, Gordon, and Anthea. And then they're all of a sudden out of their trance and appear to be appalled at what they see.
It would be pretty ugly, I'm sure.
The children just walk away. As you do.
And Thea's very upset. As you do. Well, I wouldn't know, but okay.
Next, there appears to be a dinner party at the Zellaby house.
I think they're just dressed up for dinner because Alan's the only one there. I guess the doctor. Yeah, the doctor's there too. And they're having tea.
Yeah. Alan, Gordon, Anthea, and the doctor.
Yes.
And then Alan receives a phone call. Tells the others that a town similar to theirs was just destroyed by a nuclear device, Karen, that had range far enough that the children wouldn't know what was happening. But they didn't warn any of the townspeople. The whole town was destroyed. This is the one in Russia or whatever.
Yes, because the children in Russia had begun to take control. And so the Russians decided they needed to do something about it. So they obliterated the whole town.
Yep.
And Gordon is telling them that he's trying to figure out how to get in the children's minds. And he says the minds are basically like surrounded by a brick wall. And he's staring at the brick wall to try to figure out how to get into their minds. Then they cut to David, who's staring at a map of Russia.
Yep.
Like he knows
a globe.
Like he knows what's happening. So I don't know if they have hive minds with all of the children, like in other parts of the world too, or just in their own little hive. I don't know, but he seems to know. Because I
think he implies later that they do all have. Then Alan tells them that there is a move in the government to destroy the children. There is some talk. Doesn't he suggest that they leave or something? That Gordon and Anthea leave before it's too late or something?
I don't know, but he does say there's a meeting tonight to decide what to do with the children. They've decided that Gordon's compromise has failed and they need to do something.
Next, we cut to a bunch of men in the pub getting angry.
Mob mentality is starting to gain a foothold.
Yep.
It's never good when angry men are in the pub.
And they decide to march to the schoolhouse or whatever it is where the children are. They make torches.
Yes, they did make torches. They just happened to gather up sticks and make torches. So these men are very angry that their women are pregnant without them having impregnated them.
Well, I think they're not. I think they're angry that there's been 2 deaths now.
Well, that too. But part of it is their loss of control in the situation always makes people angry.
Well, the children aren't even with them anymore.
Yeah, you'd think they'd be happy. And there's like 12 of them in the schoolhouse.
I think it's more that there have been deaths and that the men know that kids ain't good. So they make their torches, and I think they're going to try to burn the house down. That's what I wrote. But David comes out to confront them. And he stares at the man leading the angry mob, and he drops his torch, catching himself on fire.
Yeah, which is also pretty gruesome. So he hypnotizes them,
and all the rest of the men can just stand there. They can't do anything. Just like
they're in a trance.
Yeah. David re-enters the house, and then the men try to put the fire out, and Major Allen arrives just in time to see all this.
The fire that's consuming the man.
Yes.
He lit himself on fire, and then as soon as David goes back into the school or whatever, they all come out of their trance and put out their friend.
Yep.
Again, brutal and gruesome. We don't see it, but it's well done, I think. You definitely know that he's on fire. Just like you definitely knew that the other guy blew his head off.
Major Allen enters the schoolhouse and confronts David. And the children know about the other town. David stares at Major Allen. David tells Major Allen to leave them alone. They all surround him.
Allen gets all sweaty.
Next, we see the Major in bed at the Zellaby's house. They're all still dressed for dinner.
Yeah, he didn't make it out. He's back at recovery.
Doctor says that he is in shock.
Well, for a while, he was totally paralyzed. But he's getting better.
David arrives, and he wants to speak to his father, Gordon.
They're all standing around Allen, and Gordon says to his wife, go to the library. He's getting better. It's okay. And David confronts his mother in the library and says he wants to talk to his father. And the mother asks him, why do you do these dreadful things? Wherever you
He doesn't confront his mother. He just comes in and says, I want to speak to my father.
Well, yeah, but...
No, he does. And Anthea tries to reason with David. But once again, he only wants to speak to his father, Karen. Get Dad! I want to talk to Dad! Let's see what Dad says.
That would be confronting your mother, but go ahead.
That's a little different, though, when it's just wait till your father gets home. All right. David explains to his dad, his father, that Major Allen will be fine, and that was just a warning. David wants his father's help. He wants him to arrange a way for them to get out of town without raising suspicion. He says he is to find families throughout the land to take them in until they are all old enough to form new colonies. And I think this is where he says that they're the last ones left, right? So he kind of knows all the others have been destroyed.
David does chastise Gordon and says if he didn't suffer from emotions and feelings, he could be as powerful as the kids are. It's those damn emotions and feelings that are dragging him down.
It is. It always is.
He says he needs Gordon's help to leave. And I think the kid's a good actor. I noticed he's kind of doing a monologue here, and I thought he's really good.
David tells his father, hey, you have until Friday. Friday, when you come to give your lecture, as usual, tell us what the plan is, right?
David reminds Gordon, you won't be able to fool us because I'll be...
Us, he says. Yeah. He says he knows.
So...
He's well aware. But the Major is feeling much better, Karen. Anthea and the Major are leaving for London. Gordon is staying and is going to lecture the children just like he always does. As usual. Business as usual.
He says he thinks he's found a way to get through to them.
Yeah. Next we see Gordon making a bomb out of what appears to be TNT and an alarm clock, Karen.
Gordon says that they won't harm him, that they trust him. But he has a bomb.
And he's setting it for 8:30, Karen.
And he tells himself to think of a brick wall.
Yeah, it's 8:15 now. Bomb goes off in 15 minutes. He keeps staring at the brick wall. Clock on the mantle, 8:15. Pan to the brick wall. Just then, Anthea stops the car.
She wants to know why Gordon asked Alan to watch over her.
Right. Why should you watch over me? She decides she's turning around.
Yeah, she knows he's doing something.
Ain't right.
Yeah.
So Gordon arrives at the schoolhouse to give his lecture.
About atomic energy.
Atomic energy. Riveting. David interrupts and wants to know about the arrangements for getting them out of town.
David says it's 8:27. Why are you nervous?
Yes. Well, he says, I will tell you as soon as we finish our lesson. I want to talk about the atomic energy. And they see that Gordon is thinking of a brick wall. And we cut back from the clock to a brick wall. 8:28, 8:29, brick wall. And
why wouldn't he have gone in there at 8:28? To think of, or 8:29, thinking of the brick wall. Why did we have to watch him sweat as the minutes ticked by? And
yeah, but it's a good shot. Got his eyes and a brick wall behind them crumbling, like superimposed and stuff. And I read that may have been the children breaking down the wall to his mind.
That's what I thought it was.
Okay.
What did you think it was?
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, because he's thinking of the brick wall and they're breaking through to find out what is happening.
That's why you're a doctor. And I'm just Greg.
Their eyes light up as the brick wall is coming apart in his mind. It's crumbling. There's lots of eyeballs. They do figure it out.
Yeah, at 8:30.
They look
David looks right at the briefcase and then boom, it explodes. We see the explosion from the exterior. And Anthea and Major Allen see it from the car.
It looked like a miniature. You think it was a miniature that exploded?
It looked like a miniature, yeah. And then we see glowing eyes traveling through the flames, Karen.
Yeah, they're floating away.
Yeah, they are in the flames. The end. Do you think that was sequel potential? Their eyes were floating away with the ashes or the smoke and going out to...
Where are they going?
I don't know.
Form a new hive?
Don't know. All right, Karen. You know anything about the novel this film was based on?
I do not.
The Midwich cuckoo. Do you know the habits of the cuckoo?
Well, I have a feeling it's like the cowbird around here.
It is.
Yeah.
It's exactly like the cowbird. And it puts its eggs in the nests of other birds, and its eggs hatch first, and they grow quicker than the other birds in the nest, and kind of push them out so that they survive. Yeah.
So the cowbird survives, yes, and the others do not. Yeah. Brutal. Nature is brutal.
No, it is what it is. And also in the novel, a large metallic object lands in the middle of town before everybody passes out.
Like a ship or...
Yes.
Oh, okay. Not just like a piece of metal.
The guy flies over and sees it, and then it disappears and everybody wakes up.
Oh, okay. Well...
But everything else is pretty much true to the novel, even like the different towns and like the Australia town and the Eskimos and the Russian and all that other stuff. So I don't think Gordon plays as big a role in the book as he does in the film, though. He still ended up taking them all out, but I don't think I'm not sure he's actually the father of one of the kids. All right, Karen. Anything you really liked in this film?
I like the special effects with the eyes. I thought that was very effective. I thought it was really good showing brutality without the violence. You knew what happened, but you didn't necessarily see it, but you still knew that it was really, really bad. I thought the acting was really good.
I did too.
I really liked this film.
I did too.
I was surprised. I've heard of it over time, but never taken the time to watch it. And I thought it was excellent, actually. I mean, even the little pieces of it, like the mom being upset that her child has no feelings towards her, each little part of it I thought was really good. Yeah. There was probably some sort of commentary about Russia and us weaved in there that I didn't really because I don't know history well enough to comment, but I bet there was something in there, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't know if it was a commentary on more brutal societies, like what we would try to think of as less developed societies, like the Eskimos killing all the kids because they were the wrong colored hair or something. I don't know if it went that deep, but
no, that's brilliant, Karen, that they would do that.
Kill all the blondes. I agree.
Yes.
those blonde troublemakers. They're not even blonde, they're white-haired. So they do really stand out from the other kids. So I really liked it a lot.
I did too. I agree. The acting was good. There were some really well shot scenes.
Yeah, when they pulled up and you saw everyone in the town just laying around, it was very effective. That's what I mean. Even from the beginning, each scene was well done and captivating and played an important role in other parts of the movie. There wasn't really anything extraneous in this one.
Nope, just one or two plot holes, I think. That was it. Anything you didn't like, Karen?
I think
too much smoking
by the doctor. My doctor used to smoke when I was a kid.
Doctors are always smoking.
Did yours?
No.
Oh, mine did. Definitely. I will say the only thing I'm a little disappointed in, and I don't even know how you would have fit it in the film, but basically, and I wonder if this is why they didn't show in the film, like in the book, that something landed in the middle of town. All the women were basically raped, right? Because in some form. So if something had landed in the middle of town and then all the women ended up pregnant, it would imply that something came into town and did such a thing. But they couldn't even say the word pregnant, I don't think.
And definitely not abortion.
Right.
Yeah, they didn't mention either word.
Or sex.
But I do believe those things are mentioned in the novel.
And they go to the priest, and basically these are immaculate conceptions, just like Mary's.
Yeah, they reading about the book, they call it was caused pregnancy or caused by xenogenesis. Xenogenesis?
Well, that's a different species impregnating you, I think.
That's the way they explain it.
But it wasn't their choice, is all I'm saying. They didn't choose this.
Oh, no. Yeah.
They were used as breeders for whatever. And I think it would have been, I don't know, a little nicer to
production of an offspring that is unlike either of its parents.
Yeah, like a zebra and a horse or something, I think, can breed, but then stuff like that, I think. Is that, I don't know if that's right or not, but I think it is.
Yeah, donkeys and horses create a mule or something like that. I don't know. Or vice versa. I don't know.
I just think including them a little more, like, would have been it. Like the whole thing, you get a very little snippet of Anthea saying how afraid she is, and she doesn't know what it is. Like I said,
it's a very neat contrast, but between that and how happy she is when she first finds out.
Right. But we see more how angry Timmy is that his wife got pregnant while he was gone versus how she might feel that she's pregnant and has no idea how it happened. And her husband doesn't believe her, which, you know, would be a hard thing for him to believe, obviously.
He must not be a Christian, Karen.
But, you know, I just think it would have been a little nicer to have them a little more involved in the story. But I still like the movie a lot.
That shows good contrast. Like I said, one family is very happy, another single mother's not happy, and another family ain't fucking happy either. So I think Gordon and Anthea are only ones who are happy about this whole situation when it first happened.
They're the only ones who have a reason to be pregnant, apparently. Whatever. Well, Timmy's out to sea.
Yeah.
And the 17-year-old is implying, you know, that it couldn't possibly be true. That's all she could say.
Yeah.
So it's a frightening situation.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
if you're Mary in the Bible, she was asked first. An angel came and said, "Would you do this?" These women just kapow, they're pregnant. I'm just saying, if they're immaculate conceptions, Mary agreed to it. She was only 13 though.
Did she?
Yeah.
Did she?
She did.
Okay.
I would have liked to involve them a little more. That's all. And there were some scene things, like you could tell the burning building was a miniature, But otherwise,
and the
I was
flames were superimposed over the guy that was burning too. But still, you knew, you got what was going on.
You got it, yeah.
It wasn't, horribly graphic.
Anything you were disappointed in?
No, I don't think so. I don't think I was. If I was, I didn't make note of it. Oh, and in the credits, Bruno was credited.
Yes, he was.
The dog, Bruno, which was the character's name, because that's what Gordon called him, was Bruno.
Well, they didn't want to make it too much of a stretch for him.
Yeah, there's nothing really bad I can say, except, we never talked anymore about the damn fingernail thing.
Yeah, that was a one-off.
That was, minor. It would have been nice to see the passing of time, like more like in the seasons and things like that. But
yeah, they did go from 1 to about 8
very quickly. Yeah.
Even though they're progressing faster than normal, it wasn't that fast. That's what I mean. These families had these
large
kids
lapses in time
for that long without any. I guess they do mention it a little. There was a drowning, so they're saying that odd things are happening, but it took them that long for the men to break, 8 years or whatever, before they get the mob mentality to burn the school. So you're right. It was probably the increase in deaths.
Yeah. They felt no longer in control.
Yeah. The kids were starting to take over like they did in Russia. They did say at one point that the Russian children were advancing a little quicker.
Anything else, Karen, you were disappointed in?
No.
All right. What kind of cocktail rating you want to give this film, Karen?
I think it's a 2.
I agree.
I mean, especially for the time that it was made. I haven't seen the remake, obviously. When was it? 95?
Yep.
Who did that?
John Carpenter.
Okay. Knew it was someone famous. So you could be a lot more graphic probably in 1995. But this was well done, well executed, where you knew violence was happening without seeing it. But I bet in the 1995 one, you see some violence.
He didn't write the script. He kind of rewrote it. So I don't know how much of the original script is him or not, or how much of the finished script was his or not. But he kind of flipped it on its head.
Did you see it?
No, I was reading about it today.
Oh.
There's like, I don't know, like 10 boys and 10 girls, and they immediately pair off. But one of them is stillborn, and that is David's
twin
match. His
match. Interesting.
His mate, more or less. So David he's not the leader. It's a little girl. So Carpenter kind of flips that kind of stuff over, and I'm sure he talks about abortion and all kinds of other shit, but it's a little different. I even think that it's a woman who kills them. So I don't know.
Well, if they actually die. I really think it's a good one. This one.
Yeah, I was thinking as I was watching. Yeah, this is 2. This is a 2.
It's amazing what they did with just almost imagination and story.
Budget was $320,000.
It's creepy from start to finish, I think. I think people being able to read your mind is creepy. I got a lot in there that people don't need to see.
Yeah. Tell me about it. $320,000 in 1960 is equivalent to the purchasing power of $3.2 million today. So it made $2 million in 1960. So it's like $200 million today, right?
Would have been nice to have points on that.
Adding the zeros.
Is that what they're called? Points? Is that what we learned from the blue light?
Yeah. All right. What do you think of your back to school-tini?
It's okay. If you like martinis, you'll like it.
A little too much vodka, I thought.
Yeah, that's what a martini is. It's basically straight up.
It got better as it sat.
I think it's just a nice variation on a martini, if that's your drink.
Are you happy with how this film fulfilled your back to school theme, Karen?
It was getting a little iffy, but we did get some schooling in there. I just want to have a hive mind.
Do you really?
Well, just think how much you go to class, I'll sleep in, and you learn for me, and then I know it.
But you have no individualism.
True. But really,
You can't know anything.
does the world need me, or can
like
I
there's
be of a hive mind?
no point in playing trivia with your friends if you all have the same fucking mind. Right.
Well, you could compete against other hive minds.
And I do have to say, I'm very proud of myself, Karen. I'm so proud. I did not say children of the damned once. I was afraid I was going to keep saying that over and over again. Our main song, you know, Karen. Children of the damned.
No, I didn't know. See.
Yeah. Even thinking about it earlier, I would think
there is a movie, Children of the Damned, because
no.
I looked it up at first and I was reading it and I thought, this isn't the right one.
That's the sequel to this.
Oh, is it?
It is, and it's very different. All right, Karen, anything we learned today?
We learned about white German shepherds.
We did.
We learned about masking on the film to make the eyeballs glow.
A little bit about that.
Well, now you would probably use contacts, right? So it was a neat effect because they did a good job with it. They matched them up well. It did look like a picture, but I thought I read somewhere that the kids' heads were clamped so they would hold still.
In some scenes, I'm sure they were, especially like when the younger children, when he's like in his crib and he's just like sitting there. I'm sure they like tied his head to the back of the crib so he couldn't move. That's what I would have done. Because he has to
stare at her. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta do what you gotta do.
We learned that there's an Iron Maiden song called Children of the Damned, which has nothing to do with this.
Nope. Learned a little about cuckoos and cowbirds.
This made a lot of money, too, this movie, for the amount spent on it.
They were reluctant to release it for some reason, too, which is weird. Whatever, like they didn't do much promotion or anything, and it kind of became a cult film, you know?
I think there's just something inherently creepy about
kids.
Yeah, weird kids.
There is. They're like little people, Karen.
Miniature people. But I think they're supposed to be innocent. So when they're not innocent, it's just weird.
Are they supposed to be innocent?
When they're young.
Are they?
Of course they are.
All right.
That's the whole dichotomy of the thing.
Okay.
That's why it's creepy when they're not.
You say so, Dr. Karen. All right, Karen. Anything else?
No.
Is it my choice next week?
Next movie is your choice. What do you got?
Oh, my God. Oh, yeah. Next week, Karen, we're going to watch the 1972 film Necromancy.
Interesting choice. Why did you choose that?
Okay, it was released September 20th, and our next episode comes out September 21st, right? That's why. Released in Detroit, Michigan, Karen. Detroit Rock City. September 20th, 1972.
Okay. It's good reason. You got a drink to go with it?
Do, Karen.
What's that, Greg?
So it's the Negroni.
Mm-hmm.
Is that how you say it? Negroni?
I think so.
Yes. That is my cocktail for next week.
What are we going to need?
Going to need gin, Campari, sweet vermouth, and an orange peel. And a large ice cube if you have such things.
Campari, huh?
Yep, Campari.
We're giving it another chance.
Got a whole bottle of it. Might as well try it again.
I think I'm gonna have a whole bottle of that until the day I die. All right. Well,
would you like to know why I chose that drink, Karen?
Sure.
Well, apparently it was one of Orson Welles' favorite drinks or something. He was one of the first to like proclaim its glory. And he stars in the film Necromancy. So that's why I chose it.
Okay. This isn't a Hammer film, is it?
It is not.
Okay.
An American film. I do believe.
Have you seen it before?
I have not.
Okay. Well, I haven't either, so
Yeah, it's got all kinds of good stuff in it, though.
excellent.
Supernatural horror film. My favorites. Little of the satanic panic mixed in.
That always helps.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm curious. I'm very curious. I especially want to see how Orson Welles does in it. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
he's the lead. Anyone you need to thank this week, Karen?
I'm going to thank our listeners, as always. There's a lot of podcasts out there. Thanks for spending time with us. What about you, Greg? Who do you need to thank?
This week, I only have to thank the band Verse 13.
Why do you only have to thank them? Did Massachusetts not step up this week?
I haven't looked.
Okay.
But no, I would like to thank everyone who has subscribed to our newsletter.
Ooh, we do have a newsletter.
We did. We got one new subscription today, Karen.
Excellent. Has a lot of good info in it.
Yeah, lots of good trivia.
You can subscribe where?
Our website, Karen, scaryspirits.com.
Excellent. Easy peasy. Just put in your email.
Yeah, there's a pop-up that may pop up that asks you to subscribe. And if you do, you'll be able to download the latest issue. Or there's a link to subscribe. And I think about every once a week, I'll send the email out to new subscribers so that they have the latest issue.
Excellent.
I'm a giver, Karen.
You are.
Anything else we need to cover?
Please drink responsibly.
Yes.
Thanks so much for listening. Want to keep in touch? Check out our website, scaryspirits.com. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Scary Spirits Podcast. Find us on YouTube at Scary Spirits Podcast. If you have questions or comments, you can email us at info@scaryspirits.com. To help us grow the podcast, you can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. You know, we really do appreciate your support. And as always, please drink responsibly.